Welcome to Ask Dr. Mingle, the Q&A series for Mingle Health, where we take your questions about quality programs and the transition to value-based care. I'm Kyle Breckel. I'm a digital marketing specialist at Mingle Health, and I'll be hosting this episode along with Dr. Dan Mingle, founder and executive chairman of Mingle Health. Good morning, Dr. Mingle.
Good morning, Kyle, and good day to all of you tuning in. It's great to see you again. I am Dr. Dan Mingle, and I'm here to answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Before we get started with today's questions, I want to invite you to send us your questions for Dr. Mingle. You can leave your questions in a comment on LinkedIn or YouTube, or you can email them directly to us at hello@minglehealth.com. Our first question today is from Jeff, and Jeff asks, I've heard you say that we should satisfy APP quality reporting with MIPS CQMs. Why is that?
Well, thanks, Jeff. Great question. From my observation, MIPS CQMs is the only solution for an ACO that is scalable, sustainable, and affordable. The challenge for most ACOs is that they are made up of multiple independent practices, each with a different EHR and practice management system. The data doesn't easily combine for clean and accurate eCQM reporting, and Medicare is insisting on a combined deduplicated report. So you can't simply take the automated download from each of your EHRs and put it together. Registries have been taking data from multiple health IT systems since the beginning of PQRS in 2007. So there is, in fact, 15 years of practice getting data from multiple sources, and prices vary. So I've heard people say it's too expensive. We endeavor to make our processing affordable, and if you take out that piece of having to integrate your data before you do any reporting, it really adds speed, adds time, reduces expense, reduces maintenance. So give it a try. Talk to a good registry about this. I think you'll be pleased.
Great question, Jeff. And in contrast to Jeff's question, our next question today is from Meg. And Meg asks, why shouldn't I use eCQMs to satisfy the APP?
Well, Meg, great question. Matches very well with the last. It can be done, and you'd think it should be done that way. And certainly, as Medicare puts its long-range plans forward, you can see in it a thread that we really want this easy. We want this push button. It should just flow out of your EHR. But even Medicare recognizes that it's not going to be easily obtained and may never be obtained. In fact, the recent treatise introducing the concept of digital quality measures suggested it's going to have to be someone outside the EHRs to pull it all together. It just doesn't fit in an EHR business plan to be able to perform in the ways that your registry or independent eCQM vendor can perform. Many EHRs come with that capability of generating the eCQMs for quality reporting. But under real-world conditions, eCQMs are not sustainable, scalable, or affordable. There's lots of failure points. First, it requires rigid compliance with documentation workflows. If you document it in any valid way that doesn't hit the queries built in, it doesn't work. And when was the last time you got all your doctors, all your providers to agree on how to do any one thing? Medicare specifications change more rapidly than EHRs can upgrade. Medicare changes at least yearly with the yearly rulemaking cycle, and also issues post-regulatory guidance, which is equivalent to saying we can change our mind anytime. We're built so that we can change on a dime. If Medicare changes their interpretation of their own rules, we can find those cases, correct them, and get it, and almost overnight correct a previously submitted report to the new rules. The problems I've mentioned so far are are applicable to a single instance of a reputable EHR. But the nightmare begins when you try to build an ACO in your community and you're trying to blend data from multiple EHRs. It compounds the problems. Each are bringing their problems to the data, and that's hard. Even if you can build an integrated data set, it's hard to get great data coming from each of your systems so that that's reliable and accurate. It's an expensive and lengthy process to pull all the ACO data into one central data set. And once you get there, there are new problems cropping up all the time, and there's maintenance to consider. All the issues of documentation are still there, compounded by multiple sources and a complex chain. And if one link of your chain is not ONC certified, you really no longer have an eCQM compliant end-to-end solution to create certified output. So just a lot of problems. And then it's subject to failure as practices upgrade or change their EHRs, or new practices join the ACO with a different EHR. And again, even if it's the same EHR, different instances act in different ways, so it's not trivial to include them in the data set. So thanks, Meg. Great question. Sorry for the long answer. My experience has not been good watching eCQMs.
Yeah, great question, Meg. Our third question today is from Alex. And Alex asks, FHIR is coming. Does that mean I need to do eCQMs to be FHIR ready?
Well, great question, Alex. I get this a lot. FHIR is one specific type of HL7 message. It's the latest and greatest in the family of outputs that are called clinical document architecture. There's more than 100 of them. It shares the same control characters and syntax as the previous HL7 messages. And anyone capable of dealing with HL7 can read or write FHIR or FHIR. Both are not exclusive. Neither HL7 nor FHIR are exclusive to eCQMs. All registries providing MIPS CQMs can, and most do, I think, include HL7 and FHIR sources in their analytics. So as we evolve to a new data system and people embrace FHIR, I don't expect any problems if you're in the eCQM route or the MIPS CQM routes. Both you should be able to expect to continually handle this. Even if they converge into systems where the qualifications for MIPS CQMs and the certification for eCQM vendors, they may merge someday, or might become qualification for both sides, or certification for both sides. I don't expect the reliable vendors are going to keep up with those rules and those certifications and keep serving you. Key difference between eCQMs and MIPS CQMs is that eCQM has to use electronic data end to end, and every piece of that electronic data path has to be certified. MIPS CQMs and registries don't live under those restrictions. They can use all the data that eCQMs can use. So they can use FHIR, they can use CDA, they can go directly at your database and pull and get your data and analyze that. And they can also include non-certified data sources, as long as they're reliable. So if you have a reliable data source, MIPS CQMs through a registry can handle that. They can even take manually abstracted data. So if you want to take your list of patients who are not met for a particular measure and look deeper into the documentation to see if it's there in an area that wasn't pulled by the queries, you can do that, and a registry can blend that into your submission to give you a better, more reliable score.
Great question, Alex. And Jeff and Meg, thank you as well for the excellent questions. If you have a question for Dr. Mingle, please leave it in a comment on LinkedIn or YouTube, or you can send us an email at hello@minglehealth.com. And thank you, Dr. Mingle, for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you, Kyle, and thanks for all the great questions. I want to be helpful, and I want this to be useful to you, so don't hesitate to correct or supplement any of my answers. Share your experience, ask your questions. We can be smarter together.